Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today I'm going to be making mac and cheese, a dish that I don't actually very much love. I know many of you are crying inside, but don't come after me. I've mentioned this in videos before. Mac and cheese is not something I really grew up eating. I think I did go through a small mac and cheese phase when I was in college, like many college students on a budget. And I remember I really did enjoy the Annie's shells and cheese, and I would add a can of tuna fish to it to give it some protein and stay on a budget. And that was fine, but I never really loved it. You know what I mean? Just never like loved mac and cheese. Also, when I had children, I thought they would be like millions of other American children and love mac and cheese, but they did not as well. Although my younger son, who is now 10, appreciates mac and cheese. I think I should step back a little bit. There was one example of mac and cheese I did like when we were in Seattle at Pike Market. I did have a mac and cheese that was quite delicious. Very, very cheesy penne pasta, really. But today I'm going to be making a mac and cheese recipe, and I'm curious if it's going to convert me at all because it's taken the internet by storm. I first learned about it during the holidays, but here I am coming into March making this mac and cheese for you because number one, I want to know what it tastes like. Number two, I want to know if this will convert me at all. And number three, I'm just really curious about it because this is Tini's mac and cheese, and it contains about 3 times as much cheese to pasta. That's like a 3-to-1 ratio, almost. It's like 2.5 to 1. But if you count the heavy cream and the evaporated milk, it's definitely 3+ to 1 ratio of dairy to starch. So come along with me as we make Tini's mac and cheese. So right here, I've got a pot of boiling water. Also, if you don't know Tini, by the way, she's very popular on the TikToks, and that's where I learned about this. So salt, a lot of salt to the pasta water. That will give the pasta a lot of flavor. Next, we have our pasta, and this is cavatappi. This shape, it's a corkscrew shape. We're using this instead of elbow macaroni, which I think is controversial to some people because macaroni and cheese is always elbows, right? Well, not in this case. We're using cavatappi. Tini says that the sauce gets in the tubes of this better. All right, into the pot. And I'm gonna do 8 minutes. It says 7 to 9 minutes. We'll do 8. This will also cook in the oven too, so we'll give our pasta a stir because we don't want it to be clumped up. Boil, boil, bubble and toil. Next, we need to prepare our cheeses. Look at my little mini building block stack of cheese. When my kids opened the fridge and saw this cheese there, they said, "Oh my goodness, you bought a lot of cheese, Mama." This is all for one recipe. They were incredulous. So this is 2.5 pounds of cheese. We have sharp cheddar, Colby Jack, and mozzarella. And Tini insists that we grate this fresh. All right, I'm gonna stir my pasta, make sure it doesn't overflow. This is where if you have a food processor with a grater attachment, this would be really good time to use it. But I have this grater. I like it. It's an OXO grater. I like the fact that it has the fine and the coarse. And it can be a box grater. It stands up like a box grater, but it also folds down so it goes into your drawer nicely. But do I like it to shred cheese? I don't know. I actually haven't used it to grate that much cheese, but let's try. This countertop is a little bit tall for me. I am a bit short. So we're gonna grate the cheese. Now, I am with Tini on grating your own cheese. You can buy the pre-shredded stuff, which I certainly have purchased before, but they do coat it with a bit of cornstarch to keep it from sticking. So, you know, there's that you're adding to your food, which is fine, but it also tastes better when you grate your own cheese, in my opinion. It doesn't taste as kind of dried out or stale at all. All right, so that's almost 8 ounces of mozzarella. So let's switch it up and grate some cheddar. Ooh, cheddar's a little easier to grate. It's a little firmer, a little waxier, not as bouncy. Wow, this is gonna be a mountain of cheese. So once my pasta is done boiling, I'm gonna drain it so we can use it for the recipe. drain it, and then I'm also gonna rinse it so it doesn't stick to itself. All right, lovelies, I'll see you in a little bit. Man, so much cheese. Alrighty, lovelies, pasta is boiled, cheese is shredded. Now we are going to make our roux, which is our butter and flour paste that we're gonna cook up, and it's gonna thicken our cheese sauce. So I've got my pan preheated here, 3 tablespoons of butter into my skillet. I'm gonna melt that down. While my butter is melting, let's make the seasoning powder that's gonna go into the sauce. We need a teaspoon of smoked paprika. Now, smoked paprika is not the same as regular sweet paprika. Smoked paprika? It smells smoky, kind of like liquid smoke. So, it's quite different. Now we're gonna add an equal amount of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon of salt. Lots of cheese, it's gonna be quite salty, so just a bit of salt, and half teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm just gonna crack it fresh because that's the best to me. Black pepper. Perfect timing. Our butter is melted. And now we're gonna add our flour. And we're going to cook this up until it makes a paste. And this is the base of many white sauces, is this roux. Now we're not gonna cook it too long. Oops. My oven is also, as you can hear, preheated to 350 degrees. All right. Now, to this, we're going to whisk in 1 can of evaporated milk. A whisk helps to prevent lumps, but I always end up getting some lumps, but that doesn't matter. It'll work out. Now, along with that, we're gonna add 2 cups of heavy cream. I was supposed to cook half of the seasoning. Oh, we're not gonna admit that. Don't forget the seasoning that we just made. And the rest of our cream. Wow, that's gonna be rich. So we're gonna cook this, and once this thickens up a bit, we're gonna add our cheese. Oh, almost forgot, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard and cheese are great friends. So I think this is gonna be a sound addition. Love a ham and cheese sandwich with Dijon mustard. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Look, this is already starting to thicken. Smells great. I can smell the garlic powder, Dijon mustard, and definitely the dairy. Now we can add our cheese. I don't think I've ever grated this much cheese at one time in my life. Look at this mountain of cheese. Look at that. This is a half sheet pan full of cheese. Wow. So there's our sauce. It's thickening up nicely. Reduce the heat. And now we're going to add handfuls of cheese. We're just gonna add half because the rest we're going to add to the pasta afterwards. Not afterwards, but in layers. So add some cheese and then whisk to incorporate. And that flour mixture will act as an emulsifier and hold that cheese in suspension. Wow, this is obscene. Just utterly obscene. Look, I still have that much more cheese left. I have this on low heat. Look at this cheese. Wow. Cheese pull for days. Wow. This reminds me of the aligot recipe that I did with potatoes and cheese. And it was stretchy potatoes. Did you see that recipe? It's incredible. Alrighty, so we have our really stretchy cheese sauce. And now we're adding our pound of pasta. And stir in our pasta to the cheese sauce. Oh my gosh. Love, love, listen to that. So gooey. Stretchy. Gorgeous. So I've mixed the pasta into the cheese sauce, and this is where we would put it into a baking dish, but I'm just going to bake mine in this oven-proof pan of mine. It's perfect. But we're supposed to layer some cheese in between, so I'm going to transfer some of this out of here so I can put a layer of cheese in between. half of the macaroni and cheese there, and a layer of cheese. Oh my gosh. Wow. And then the rest of the pasta. I was curious, so I wanted to know how many calories was in this, just out of curiosity. And a serving of this is supposed to have 393 calories. I didn't catch the serving size, but apparently that's pretty par for the course for a mac and cheese recipe. 300 to 500 calories per serving for serving of mac and cheese in general. So Tini's falls right in that window. Okay, so we have the pasta and now the rest of the cheese. Oh, I've missed that piece. Bury that in the bottom. Right on top. Okay, so into a 350 degree oven. Bake this for 25 to 30 minutes until it's nice and thoroughly warmed. Like this is already cooked, right? And all the cheese is melted. And then we're going to broil it for 2 minutes or so, or until the top is nice and caramelized and bubbly and gorgeous. Then we're going to taste Tini's mac and cheese. Exciting! Wow, this is hefty. Yes, do a few reps of this. All right, my lovers, see you in a little bit. Alrighty, my lovelies, Tini's mac and cheese just came out of the oven and it is weighty, but it looks fantastic. Look at that. Golden brown, cheesy. I mean, so cheesy. What a presentation. Could feed an army, I think. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. I think I'm going to gust this up a little bit with some dried parsley, just to give it a little bit of green on top. Ooh, looks great. Alrighty, let's go ahead and give Tini's mac and cheese a taste. She scraped the top. Let's scrape the top too. Sounds pretty good. Nice crisp layer of cheese on top. And let's scoop out a bite. Here we go. Oh, it's still oozy inside. That's a good sign. All right, let's see how it pulls. Ready for this? Here we go. Does not disappoint. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is quite the cheese pull. Good grief. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Look at that cheese. Oh my gosh. Obscene. You see how the sauce clings to the ridges of the pasta? I think it's pretty brilliant to add both a cheese sauce and to have the cheese itself just layered inside, so then you have more of the cheese pull action while you still have the cheese sauce coating the individual pieces of pasta. Alrighty, let's see how it tastes. Here we go. Itadakimasu. Mm. Mm. Very rich. Pretty good. Pretty garlicky. Garlicker than I expected, but not overly so. The pasta still has some good bite to it, but not firm. And you get some of the stretchy cheese, so you got a little bit of the cheesy bite. The mozzarella does that, I think. It reminds me of when you get a really oozy centerpiece of cheese pizza, that first bite. When you chew on it, you get a little bit of that kind of bounce. You get some of that in here as well from the mozzarella. It's not too salty. I don't taste any of the mustard, but it does seem to add some complexity. It's very rich. Oh, and add a little extra pepper to mine. Yes, I think that's what I need. I need a little bit more spice, kind of balance all of that richness. The heavy cream definitely adds some richness to it too. Wow. That was a very rich bite. It's all right, to be honest. But again, I'm not a huge lover of mac and cheese. So this does not taste like boxed mac and cheese. To me, boxed mac and cheese tastes more kind of artificial, cheesy, processed cheese food flavor to it. And there's something kind of very comforting about that as well. Perhaps it's just childhood nostalgia, but a lot of people love that combination of just slippery pasta with that buttery kind of cheesy sauce on the outside. Bright orange in color. This is not that. This is a little bit more like cheese pizza, but like Alfredo cheese pizza. Yeah, that's what it's like. The mozzarella, I think, really gives that cheese pulley, kind of toasted cheesy top on the top. And then you've got this kind of somewhat Alfredo inspired sauce in there because you've got the garlic in there, but not too garlicky. So that kind of holds everything together, which makes it, you know, mac and cheese like. That oozy kind of cheese that holds everything together. Saucy. I think my favorite part of the dish is the cheese kind of broiled on top. I love what happens to cheese when it cooks down and gets toasty. It gets really nutty, it gets a little bit oily, but crispy and intensified. The flavor of the cheese changes, I feel, when it undergoes that kind of broiling process. It separates from the fat a bit, like that top part. But this has not converted me to becoming a mac and cheese lover, for those that were hoping that it might. But it is a very good mac and cheese. If you are a lover of Alfredo, cheese pizza, cheesy breadsticks, then I think this might be the mac and cheese for you. It kind of combines all of those things with extra cheese on top. I think one of the distinguishing characteristics of this mac and cheese from other mac and cheeses that I've tried is the amount of mozzarella and what that does to the texture of the dish itself. It makes it a bit chewier and bouncier. I'm more accustomed to kind of a creamier mouthfeel of mac and cheese. While this is creamy, I do have some of that noticeable kind of chew to it as well. But that shouldn't be surprising since we did have, you know, a pound of mozzarella in here. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it, Tini's mac and cheese. Let me know down in the comments below if you've tried this recipe before or if there's a mac and cheese recipe that I should try. Perhaps I need to do a compilation, maybe need to compare some recipes to see if there is a mac and cheese recipe that will convert me into a mac and cheese lover. I don't know. Skeptical, but you never know until you try. All right, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye. Oh my gosh, neighbors, guess what I've got? I've got so much.